Okay, this next thing I want to do here is called repeat a 6-foot lying figure at points C and D vertically. All right, this is the Kincaid brothers. They live in Arizona back in the 1800s. And there are three of them. And what this calls for, repeat a 6-foot lying figure at points C and D vertically. So let's say, the givens here, what's given is the horizon line. The horizon line is given. The dead guy, the figure that's lying dead here, that's the sheriff. The two other Kincaid brothers are the black sheep of the family. And what they did is their other brother became the sheriff, and they got into a conflict with him, and so they shot him. So here's the dead sheriff laying here with a star on, and here's his hat here. Okay? Died with his boots on. Okay, that's line AB, that's the dead guy. Now here at point C is one of the shooters, and the backup man is going to be here at D. So let's see, is this going to work? I'm going to move C down just a little bit lower. I think this will work all right. Okay, so here's what I have. A, B, C, and D. This calls for me to take a 6-foot horizontal figure and draw that 6-foot figures at points C and D vertically. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the figure forward to C horizontally first by doing this, making line 1 at C. Line 1. Line 2 then is from C through A up to the horizon to get reference point 1. That's line 2. Reference point 1 back through B. This is line 3. And this gives me the figure moved to this point. Line 4 then will be a vertical above C. This will be one of the shooters, a vertical above C. Now he's the same size as line AB. So what I have to do then is measure this line that I've moved forward, comes to about 5.5 inches here, take it up vertically like this. Okay, and by the way, this was line 4. Line 5 is this measurement that I'm bringing up here like this. That's line 5. Okay. So here then is one of the bad guys. Okay. Okay, we've measured the height of the guy at 4. Now let's make a vertical here. Line 6 will be a vertical through the other backup guy. And line 6, let's draw from D through C up to the horizon to get another reference point. Reference point 2, and this is line 6. Oh, I'm sorry, line 7, excuse me. Line 7. Line 6 was the vertical we're measuring. And line 8, reference point 2, back through the top of the standing figure here. This is our last line, line 8, and that gives us the drawing of the guy they call Slim. Here he is. All right, so what we did, we took this known figure here, and we came forward to C and made a horizontal, line 1. Line 2 then was drawn from C through A up here to get a reference point. Reference point back through B transfers the height, the width of that dead figure to here. Then we measured this distance and brought it up here. That's line 5, this dashed line. Line 4 was the vertical we drew here. Okay. Line 6 is the vertical above D. Line 7, D through C up here gives us reference point. Reference point back through the top of 4 transfers back to line 6 and gives us the height of the other bad guy. All right. There's two more things here involved with reference points, and then we'll kind of leave the reference point things alone. This first one is called move a horizontal rectangle and dot to point B. Okay, I've got another corny story that helps make you think this might be something that an illustrator might actually do. And that is, we're putting on a display at the convention center for Ford Motor Company. And what we've done is at the convention center, we've drawn a big super graphic on the floor. It's a rectangle, and it has a lot of copy in it that explains the vehicle, or it's going to have. And then we have a spot on there, which is that Ford logo, which appears it's a blue form in an ellipse that says Ford. So the thing that happens, because our client is pretty generous, General Motors is next to us and they have that big Suburban type vehicle. And because it's so big, they've asked if we will move our display over a little bit to the right. Okay, we agreed to do that because we're nice. Ford is nice. So what we did is the art director looked at that and said, okay, the given square is there. Let's call the bottom right corner of that square A. Let's find another point where we want to move that corner forward, and we'll call that point B. So I know it's a little bit hard to visualize what's happening here, but let me draw it, and I think we'll begin to see what this is about. Okay, the givens, of course, we don't, because we're at the convention center, we don't have the horizon. The wall blocks us from seeing the horizon. So let's do this. We have the given rectangle like this, and it has the Ford logo. Let's just use a spot for that right here. Okay, and this is what they call point A. And our client has asked us to move that forward here to point B. So they still want the viewer that's viewing this image to be in the same space that they were initially. I know it's a roundabout kind of corny story, but I think it helps a little bit, helps understand how one might actually do this in some future instance. I think the first thing I would do, I would carry the two sides of the rectangle back to get a vanishing point. So this is lines 1 and 2. Line 1 and line 2. 1, 2. Now, what we have there now is the horizon line. As the vanishing point is on the horizon line. So, okay, I see I've set this up incorrectly. I need to redraw it. I see it's not going to work here. Change the setup just a bit. I'll keep the same lines 1 and 2. I'm just going to make this just a little shallower and put here's point A, and I want to put B down here. This works better. Here's B here, and there's A up here. Okay. Didn't plan that too well. Okay, and then here's the logo. All right. Lines 1 and 2 were carried back to a vanishing point, and that gave us where the horizon line is. I think I'll make this just a little bit deeper here too. Sorry about the initial confusion. All right, so here's our initial super graphic on the floor of the convention center. We want to move that to point B, and we want to keep that dot in the same relative position. So we did lines 1, 2, and 3. Okay. I'm thinking that line 4 will be a horizontal here at B. Line 4. Line 5 will be a line from B through A up to the horizon to get a reference point. Reference point 1, and this is line 5. Line 6 then is drawn from reference point 1 back through the other end of the horizontal A line, transferring it forward to here. Line 6 now gives us the width of this thing brought forward to here. Okay, it's still 1 point perspective. It's still in alignment with the vanishing point. So lines 7 and 8 will be from both ends of B to the vanishing point. Here is line 7 and line 8. They both go back to the same vanishing point. Now here's the deal. You see what we did? We used a reference point to transfer one parallel line to another, the scale of a line from one parallel line to another. See, we have here two more parallel lines. We can use that same reference point to transfer the scale of this line to this one by drawing line 9 like this from the reference point this way. This is line 9, and this gives us this corner brought forward to here. So you see these two lines, I hope my hand is not in the way here, this line and this one are the same length. Now all I have to do is come to that point and make a horizontal, and that gives me the back. I've moved the rectangle forward. Now my problem is, what about the dot? Well, I can find its location. Let's make it a little, that's a little bit big. Let's make it a little smaller dot. I'm going to draw from A through the dot a line like this, and this will be, oh, by the way, I should mark this as line 10. The back of the box was line 10. Now, A through the dot up to the horizon will be line 11, and that gives us RP2. So what I want to do is relate the dot to its corner. And I'm going to relate also, when I find it over here, I'm going to relate it to the B corner here. And what I've done here, this reference point 2, is actually a vanishing point for these two parallel lines. You see what I can do? I could still use this reference point to transfer scale from one parallel line to another by drawing, by the way, I should call this line 12, line 13, from reference point 1 through the dot, bringing it forward to here, line 13, it gives me the Ford logo right there. So I've brought that all forward, and I hope that wasn't too complicated. I think it's possible to be understood. I'm going to do one more, and let's see, this one will be move a vertical panel and X to point B. All right, the story for this one is actually something that really happened. The buses in LA, the bus stops used to be, if the sidewalk were here like this, the bus stops used to be back away from the sidewalk like this. The place where people would wait for the bus were back away from the sidewalk like that. What's happened is in modern times they've moved those forward till they're right up at the curb like this. So they're closer to the curb, so it's easier, I guess, for you to get up and get on the bus. So what we're going to show here is this left panel moved forward. Hope that sketch was adequately understood. What I'm going to do here then is to draw that left-hand panel of the bus stop. And again, there's a building in the way, so I can't see the horizon. So what I'm going to start with is a given vertical panel. It's a vertical panel, AB. And there's an X here. What this X represents is the logo of an ad that's on this. Let's say it's for the old ads. They used to run Bugle Boy Jean ads on these bus stops. Let's say that's what it is. And here then is the top and bottom of this vertical panel. And there's the X that we're talking about. Here's point A, and we're going to move this forward here to point B. So all we have is a photograph of this, but we don't have the horizon. So we can blow this up and try to mess around with it. We can trace the panel and see what it looks like. So what I would do then is find the horizon by converging the two sides back. So here's line 1 and line 2, and this gives us a vanishing point, 1 and 2. And here is the vanishing point. Now I know that the horizon will be a level line coming through there. Line 3, line 3. Line 3 is the horizon. Okay, I'm going to come to point B here and make a vertical, which would be the A vertical, move forward to B. This will be line 4. It's a tall vertical here, line 4. Line 5 will be a line from B through A up to the horizon to get a reference point. Line 5, reference point. Reference point back through the top of the A vertical, bringing it forward to the B vertical, like this. Line 6 brings us the height up to here. Now, I know the top and bottom of this new panel will go to the same vanishing point. So, lines 7 and 8. Line 7 and line 8 here. Okay. What I know is that I'm going to be messing around down here with this X. So to find the depth, I'm going to find it up here at the top, because that X is going to be putting a lot of lines down here on the bottom. So to simplify this, I'm going to transfer this parallel line to this one, the scale, from one parallel line to another. That is, from this one over to this one. All right? I do that this way by drawing from the reference point through the end of this line, transferring it forward to here, line 9, and where that touches line 7, I'm going to then make a vertical, which gives me the back of this. I'm sorry, did I say line 10? Excuse me. Okay, line 9 and then line 10. Okay, that brings us to where we need to find the X. The first thing I would do is relate the X to the bottom of the own panel by drawing a vertical down like this. This will be line 11. 11. Where that touches the bottom of its own panel, a line from the reference point brought forward through here like this is line 12. And where that touches the bottom of the new panel, a vertical, is line 13. Line 13. The last line is line 14, a line from the reference point through the X to here. Line 14 gives me the X in its new position right here. Okay.